MicroBit. We need to download a program that lets the MicroBit talk to Scratch on the computer. So you'll go choose your operating system. I'll be using Windows. And then I'm going to choose Direct Download. And there will be a little file that downloads into the bottom left-hand corner of my screen. We're going to double-click. And you will see that that file is called Scratch Link Setup. But this Scratch Link Setup is a compressed file. To make it easier to send over the internet, we need to extract all on this file to be able to install it. And say extract. And now when we double click on Scratch Link Setup, it is now a file that can install on our computer. And mine says preparing to install, and it will give me an error. Well, it'll ask you if you want to let this app make changes to your device. Yes, you do. And then mine will probably give me an error because I already have Scratch Link installed. So I'm just going to say finish, but when you get to the end of the setup wizard, you can say finish. And now to start Scratch Link, just go down on the lower left-hand corner in the white search rectangle and type Scratch. And eventually it will come up with Scratch Link. And we'll go over here and open it. And we'll know that it's running if we look over in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. It'll show the icon for Scratch Link. So now we have a channel of communication for our MicroBit to talk to Scratch and for Scratch to talk to our MicroBit. So that's the end of the first thing that you'll need to download. Ready for thing 2. We'll also need some special instructions for our MicroBit because Scratch isn't the only programming language that it can be programmed in. So we're going to go back to that first page where we downloaded Scratch Link from and use the scroll bar to go down to the Getting Started section. So we're going to hook our MicroBit up to our computer, and we're going to go to step 2 and download the Scratch MicroBit hex file. I'm going to go ahead and click that because it might take a second to download. And a hex file is written in code that we wouldn't be able to understand if we looked at it. It would probably be a bunch of letters and numbers, but it's instructions for the MicroBit on how to use the buttons and how to use what to do when Scratch says do this. So it's just lots of instructions for the MicroBit. If we were programming the MicroBit in Python, we would use a different hex file. If we were programming the MicroBit in another language, we would use a different hex file. So we're going to drop that hex file onto our MicroBit. So that's a little bit, that maybe not something that you have done before. So we're going to go down to the file folder down here, and there we go. And you can see Scratch MicroBit firmware combined.hex if you're in your downloads folder. So if you're not, if you came to here and you're in your Creative Clouds file, just find your downloads folder. And we don't need, it looks like we do need to, let's see, no. There we go. All right, so we're going to take that Scratch MicroBit firmware and we're going to drag it way down here to our MicroBit. So that's why your MicroBit has to be hooked up. This won't be here unless you have your MicroBit hooked up to your computer. So click on that file that just downloaded and drag it down to your MicroBit. And when you do that, your MicroBit lights should start flashing yellow. That tells you that it's downloading that information to the MicroBit. And it's all done. So now, when we go to Scratch, let's create. So here's a new project I have in Scratch. I can go down to the lower left-hand corner, and you may or may have not have used these extensions from Scratch before, but if you click on that, one of the extensions listed is MicroBit. So we're going to click on our microbit and it says it's looking for devices. Hooray, mine showed up right here. If it keeps looking and looking and can't find it, it probably means that your computer's Bluetooth is not turned on. So if it can't find it, just go ahead and exit out of it, turn your computer's Bluetooth on, and then come back and try to do it again. So I'm going to choose this microbit and say connect. And now it says it's connected, and I can go to the editor, and that is where I can do my programming. So I can then experiment with some of these. So if my microbit is moved or is shaken, maybe I'll play a sound. So I'll go to sound, and in the beginning there aren't a lot of choices. I do have meow chosen. So now if I shake my microbit, it meows. So have fun playing with that. If you run into any troubles, let us know so that we can work with you and get you ready to go before class. Thanks. Bye.